having otters in the city is a very new concept to not only Singapore but the rest of the world. And it's kind of like a test bed here to see what works, what doesn't work. It really started out with this particular group of otters, the Bishan family otters, when they came to Bishan Park and the mum and the dad gave birth to a litter of 3 pups. That was when the craze and the whole Singapore really got to know the otters living within our highly urbanized Bishan Park with a natural river system. So the otters would come up to the banks of Bishan Park, and people would be really amused and really shocked to see that we have otters in Singapore. I mean, most people may not even know what an otter is at the start. So a lot of them were asking, is this a seal? Is this a beaver? Or is this a sea lion? I mean, most of them didn't know what an otter was. But slowly, through about 1 or 2 years' time, when the otters started appearing in the news because they were so cute, they were appearing on Facebook, people got to know more about the otters, and now everyone loves them.
You say there's a Facebook page.
Yep.
Were there 30,000 people?
Yeah, 30,000 people following this Facebook page called Otter Watch. So almost half of this Facebook page followers are from outside of Singapore, and about 15,000 is followers from Singapore itself. And people following this page will get to see daily pictures of the different family groups of otters living within Singapore. It's always good to see a wild animal and even a predator living within a highly urbanized city like Singapore. I mean, people would just expect our rivers and reservoirs to just be to just serve the function of flood control and maybe to store water, but to see wildlife and to see otters within our highly urbanized country, I mean, it kind of gets people excited and want to know more about wildlife. And I think this is a very important stepping stone for them to get closer to nature. So maybe otters as the first step, and then maybe they'll get to know more about the ecosystem that otters are living in. Maybe they'll be interested in the fish, or maybe they'll be interested in some of the mangrove environment that the otters may also live in. And from then on, having a closer connection to nature. There are many cities or even countries or cities that are in similar state as Singapore, such as in Seoul. They have the Eurasian otter coming back to Seoul recently. So they are also seeing a return of otters. And we also know of this small city called Kinmen in Taiwan. They also have the Eurasian otters. So Singapore can kind of serve as a model city on how we as citizens can live alongside this move with the otters, or how Singapore manages our human-otter interactions.
What are some of the lessons so far, do you think, from Singapore?
I mean, the naturalization of the Bishan Ang-Mo-Kio Park is definitely a good example, because otters are semi-aquatic. They need both water and land, which means that if the river is such a way that it's only a canal where with steep vertical walls, the otters will not be able to come out on land to dry themselves, to find a place to sleep. And having such a natural river bank will allow otters to come out on land and to do their own thing.
You said there were 70 to 80?
There are about 70 otters in Singapore.
In Singapore.
Currently.
And the number will continue to go up, do you think? Or?
The otters are apex predators, and like many other carnivores, they are territorial. So between groups, they will fight. So that is how the numbers, they themselves will limit their numbers.
So there's a certain capacity.
Yes, there's a certain current capacity. So there's mainly limited by habitat space and food.
Okay.
So, I mean, one group of otter family in Singapore can occupy up to 10 kilometers of river and coastline. So there are only a certain number of families that Singapore can accommodate.
Have there been human-otter conflicts of some kind here in the city?
I wouldn't really use the word conflict. I would use more of the word interaction.
Okay.
There are interaction instances where otters do come up to fish ponds and try to eat fish, but with public education and with engagement from the otter working group or the various agencies to let people know that, okay, these are wild animals, we're not allowed to touch them, they are critically endangered. I mean, most people are able to understand that, it's such a privilege to have wild animals, wild otters living within a city, much less coming up to the backyard, to the fish ponds to feed on the fish. So most people are receptive, and if they really do want, we do advise on how to make the fish pond otter-proof, but so they still can enjoy the otters, but maybe the otters will not enter the pond anymore.
And I'm assuming the water quality has been improving. That must be one reason that
Yes,
otters
yes.
can survive here.
Yes.
Right?
So water quality is extremely important for survival of otters. I mean, the Kallang River in Singapore used to be much dirtier, but the government has led a clean up, and now the water is really clean, and it's benefited not only the otters but also people who can come here to the reservoir side, to the riverside, and enjoy this space.